Hello everyone, I'm Yuval Olivestone. I spoke a minute at lunch. Born in the States, but I was there till I was a year and a half old, and my English is from my parents who came from England, so I have a very interesting accent. I'll try and talk slowly. I've been working 18 years in teaching Tanakh in secular schools in Israel, different grades, junior high and high school. And then the last few months I've been working in the Ministry of Education as head of Heritage Division. And I would like to talk in the next 40 minutes about how to make a good and well done Tanakh lesson, and try and talk about a few different ways to do it, both in the religious schools and in the secular schools. When we talk about a good lesson, we talk about three different things, usually knowledge, skills, and values. I'll try and focus more on the values area, because I think that's the basic thing we're trying to do in Tanakh lessons, both in religious and in secular schools. That's the most part we emphasize when we try and teach. The main question we ask ourselves as teachers when we finish the lesson is, did we manage to pass on the idea of the lesson? Was the lesson relevant to the students? Did they come out of the lesson with something else which they didn't have before the lesson began? And as every Tanakh teacher, I went to the Tanakh to ask that question and to find an answer for that question, and to look for a teacher in the Tanakh who gave a lesson and to see how his lesson succeeded or not, and what we can learn from that. And I chose Shmuel HaNavi, Shmuel HaShofet, and I chose especially Perek Chet in Sefer Shmuel, which is a real turning point in the history of the people of Israel, changing between the leadership of Nevuah and Shoftim to the leadership of kings. And in that chapter, in that Perek, except for that changing point in the history of Israel, we have a teacher called Shmuel who fails in his lesson. He tries to persuade Israel to listen to him and to decline, not to want a king like they asked for at the beginning. And in the end they say, no, we want a king. And Shmuel really fails in the lesson he tries to give. Let's read the Perek for a minute together, so we can talk about it in a better way. Shmuel Aleph, Perek Chet. Now the last psukim before this Perek are about Shmuel as a good leader and how he does things in a very special way. He goes around the land of Israel and meets all the people, and they all love hearing him and talking to him. Pasuk Tetvav in Perek Zayin, Vayishpot Shmuel et Yisrael kol yemei chayav, ve'alach midei shana b'shana. He went all around and everybody loved him, of course. After the big fights with the Plishtim and the big success at the end. Now Perek Chet. ויהי כאשר זקן שמואל, וישם את בניו שופטים לישראל. ויהי שם בנו הבכור יואל, ושם משנהו אביה, שופטים בבאר שבע. ולא הלכו בניו בדרכה, ויתו אחרי הבצע, ויקחו שוחד, ויתו משפט. Two sons of Shmuel, he wanted them to be his successors, and they both went after the money, and they really didn't continue his ways. והתקבצו כל זקני ישראל ויבואו אל שמואל הרמתה, ויאמרו אליו, הנה אתה זקנת ובניך לא הלכו בדרכיך. אתה שימה לנו מלך לשופטנו ככל הגויים. We want a king, like all the other goyim have. וירא הדבר בעיני שמואל כאשר אמרו, תן לנו מלך לשופטנו, והתפלל שמואל אל אדוני. He didn't like the idea at all, and he went to daven. ויאמר אדוני אל שמואל, שמע בקול העם לכל אשר אמרו אליך. כי לא אותך מעשו, כי אותי מעשו ממלוך עליהם. Give them the king they want, it's not you, it's me. ככל המעשים אשר עשו, מיום העלותי אותם ממצרים ועד היום הזה, ויעזבוני ויעבדו אלוהים אחרים, כן הם העושים גם לך. They did it to me, now they're doing it to you. ואתה שמע בקולם, אך כי העד תעיד בהם, והגדת להם משפט המלך, אשר ימלוך עליהם. Before you give them the king, first of all teach them what it means to have a king. ויאמר שמואל את כל דברי אדוני אל העם השואלים מאיתו מלך. ויאמר, זה יהיה משפט המלך. Now is the long list of what the king can do or does when he becomes a king. את בניכם ייקח ושם לו במרכבתו ובפרשיו ורצו לפני מרכבתו. ולשום לו שרי אלפים ושרי 50. ולחרוש חרישו ולקצור קצירו ולעשות כלי מלחמתו וכלי רכבו. ואת בנותיכם ייקח לרקחות ולטבחות ולעופות. ואת שדותיכם ואת כרמיכם וזיתיכם הטובים ייקח ונתן לעבדיו. וזריכם וכרמיכם יעשור ונתן לסריסיו ולעבדיו. And goes on and on and on with the whole list of all the רכוש, everything that the people of Israel have, they have to give it to the king. At the end, פסוק י"ט, וימענו העם, one פסוק before that, וזעקתם ביום ההוא מלפני מלככם, אשר בחרתם לכם, ולא יענה אדוני אתכם ביום ההוא. You will ask Hashem to forgive you after that, and it'll be too late. Hashem won't even listen to you. וימענו העם לשמוע בקול שמואל, ויאמרו לא, כי מלך יהיה עלינו. They disagreed, they said no, we still want a king. והיינו גם אנחנו ככל הגויים, ושפטנו מלכנו, ויצא לפנינו, ונלחם את מלחמותינו. We still want a king, we want someone to be like all the goyim have to help us with all our challenges. וישמע שמואל את כל דברי העם, וידברם באוזני אדוני, ויאמר אדוני אל שמואל, שמע בקולם, והמלכת להם מלך. ויאמר שמואל אנשי ישראל, לכו איש לעירו. Hashem says, give them a king, and Shmuel says, okay, go everyone to where he lives, and in the next chapter or two, Shaul comes after the donkeys, and in 2 chapters, Shmuel chooses Shaul as the king. Now, as Tanakh teachers, what are the main questions you would ask the students when you come and teach this lesson to your class?
I usually, when I start this, I first send them to Sefer Devarim, Mishpat HaMelech. I want them to know Mishpat HaMelech and know what Mishpat HaMelech is in Sefer Devarim. That's the first thing.
Okay, so you can't teach this chapter without knowing Chok HaMelech in Dvarim Yud Zayin, which says what the gvulot of the king are, and you have to know that before you come and teach this. Okay.
How are they rejecting Hashem instead of Shmuel's sons?
Again, sorry?
Seemingly they're rejecting Shmuel's sons, not Hashem.
So why did Hashem say they're rejecting me? Okay, so you're saying, you're already saying, you're meniach, assuming that the reason they want a king is because they would like someone to continue after Shmuel, but his sons can't continue him, so they want a king instead of that.
But that's what they say.
But there are more reasons at the end that they want a king, not only because of that. I mean, in the end they say, even in the middle, they want someone for like the Goyim, we want someone to lead us in our battles. There's some reasons. Also, it's a big question in this chapter, why do Am Yisrael want a king? And those are 3 or 4 answers to the question. Yeah.
Shmuel presented a very negative view. He didn't take into consideration what is going on in Bnei Yisrael's mind, that they would possibly reject even the most negative picture that he would present. He didn't anticipate their response.
So you're saying the reason...
If he wanted to persuade him, he would have anticipated their response and worked with that. Why do they really want a king to be like the other Goyim? Maybe he should have persuaded them that the difference between the Jewish conception of a king and the conception of the Goyim, and presented it that way, and then they would say, "Wow, Shmuel, no, we don't want a king. We don't want to be like the Goyim. Maybe you could find a way for us to have the proper leadership."
So you're saying Shmuel gave the wrong lesson. The reason he failed is because he gave the wrong lesson to Am Yisrael. Ken.
If Kadosh Baruch Hu agreed with Shmuel that it's a bad idea, why did he let him do it? I think it's a basic question.
Right, exactly. If we know Shmuel said no, it's a bad idea. Hashem כנראה said it's a bad idea, זה לא כל כך בטוח. But if it's a bad idea, so why did Hashem say yes, give them a king? What's the reason?
Why don't you take a step back and first say, why would they want a king? What was different between a shofet and a king? Why that question?
Right.
And then I think it's interesting that at the very end it says that they all went to their own cities. Because presumably you would think a king would be someone who unifies them, but what's the first thing they have to do?
Divide up. And I was also say at the beginning that of course the two children of Shmuel are parallel to Eli's sons, who also had two sons which didn't go in his way, and Shmuel, which was the hemshech of Eli, instead of his sons, happens the same thing to him when his sons don't go in his way. And by the way, the one of the mafyanim of a king, characteristic, is giving on the melucha to his sons, and that's what Shmuel tried to do. So it's very complicated. Yes.
Right. But that's with melucha as opposed to a shofet, like Shmuel came in as a shofet. We never had a son going after.
Right.
the son.
So he began being like a melech in that.
Right.
Yes.
The only one we had was Avimelech, who wasn't a very good example.
Right.
And it's not that he got it from Gidon, he just
Right.
forced himself from.
Yeah, but think about the first king Shaul did not give it anything to his sons at all. So it's not exactly what a king does.
He didn't want to.
Nachon, but it wasn't even an option anywhere. Shmuel says, no, let's go to someone else. Hashem says. Beseder. Okay.
He lost the option.
Yes,
The
I agree.
option was there, but he lost it.
I agree. Okay, now I want to put all those questions aside and give you a brief look at the Israeli educational system, both secular and religious, and how it works in the Tanakh area. Small, quick historic talk. When the first settlers came to Israel 100 and something years ago, the Tanakh was a big part of coming back to Israel, and the secular people saw the Tanakh as it was a big thing, and they believed in it very, very much. In 1909, when this city, Tel Aviv, started up, this is the first semel of Tel Aviv. There's a pasuk from Yirmiyahu, Od evnech v'nivnet, as part of the semel. They really saw the Tanakh as part of coming back to Israel and building up the state of Israel. In many different reasons, the Tanakh shifted towards the religious people, and the secular people in Israel in very much way feel that the Tanakh is not theirs anymore. Both political reasons and academic reasons and lots of other reasons too. Rabbi Yuval always says that the reason he began the big Tanakh change that he began here is because the Tanakh was part of the secular people and not the religious part. And he wanted to find a bridge between the secular and religious, so he chose Tanakh to connect between growth groups. This is a survey done 2 years ago by 929, and you can just see, I'm colorblind, but I think this is yellow or green, whatever. This color, let's say yellow, is the Chilonim, the secular people of Israel. Now, 50% of them feel that the Tanakh is part of their historic identity. 50% feel it's not. 50% feel that it's part of the heritage, and 50% feel it's not. Only 23% feel that it's relevant for anything. When we ask students in a different survey a year ago, it is a survey about all the different subjects, basically math. That was the main reason for this survey. When you come up to Tanakh, you see, this is how they feel about their identity. These are people who say they're Chiloni, these are people who say they're Masorti, and these are people who say they're religious. So between the Chilonim, 2.4% of students in high school believe you should put effort in learning Tanakh. All the rest say it's not important at all. Even in the religious parts, only 30% say put effort in learning Tanakh. Huh?
And English and math beat that in the religion.
English and math are the real Mitzvot Kodesh in Israel. No, no. In Torah Shebal Peh is a very small portion in secular schools. Yes. Secular high schools.
So the religious students in the secular high school?
There were a few.
Right.
There are a few. Yes. Very few.
This survey is only students in these schools?
No.
So it's not.
No. There's religious schools and secular schools, all together.
Religious schools, you're talking about Mamlakti Dati.
Yeah.
Not
Haredi.
yeshivas and not Haredi.
No.
Yeshivas which are Mamlakti Dati, not Haredi. Okay. Now, Tanakh is a compulsory subject in schools in Israel, both in the religious and in the Mamlachti schools and in the secular schools. In the religious schools, it's taught between 5 and 7 hours a week in elementary school, Torah, and another 2 hours of Navi from third grade onwards, and a bit less from junior high and high schools. In secular schools, it's taught 2 hours a week from 2nd grade to 12th grade. And it's Tanakh together. It's not only Torah or Navi, it's Tanakh together. And it's all together 2 hours a week, which is a quarter of what is the hours which is taught in religious schools. Sorry? No, a day, in a week. 2 hours a week.
First of all, and you should know in Israel an hour is 45 minutes.
45 minutes. Yeah. Right. Now this is what Tanakh teachers in secular schools said about the reasons why students don't like learning Tanakh.
Where were you when we did the panel?
This is what they said. The reason, the main reason, 81%, 82% of teachers in Israeli schools, secular schools, say the reason students don't like Tanakh is because the language. The language is too difficult for them. And this is Hebrew. In Israel, it's called...
Wow. Job really easy.
It's called the Safa Zara in Israel. It's a different language, and students don't know, can't, and not even talking about the ideas and the relevance of it or anything else. First of all, the language. They can't understand the language, so they don't read it and they don't understand it. Now we have a few big gaps between the religious and the secular schools. Except for the number of hours I just talked about, there's a very, very big gap with teachers. We have 3,000 Tanakh teachers in the junior high and high schools. Most of them, 85% of them, are qualified in Tanakh. But in the elementary schools, we have over 14,000 classes between 1st and 6th grade. And Tanakh is a subject that the main teacher teaches. It's not like English or math or sports, gymnastics, or which is only qualified teacher like Madaim, but it's taught by the language teacher. The language teacher teaches language and Tanakh and history and a few other subjects. The home teacher, right, the home teacher. Now we have, I'm saying, over 14,000 home teachers in secular Israeli elementary schools. And out of those 1,400, 500 studied Tanakh while they learned to be teachers. So most of the Israeli teachers who teach Tanakh in secular elementary schools never learned Tanakh professionally. And all we hope is that they come with knowledge of Tanakh and they like Tanakh from home. But except for that, we can't do anything, because even when they go to Hishtalmuyot, which is
Professional education.
PD, whatever that, okay, they go to language, which is the main subject they teach, and they don't come to Tanakh, because that's what the principal says they have to do. So what most of the teachers do, they're very good teachers, by the way, I have nothing bad to say about them, but they're not professional in Tanakh teaching. What they mainly do is use these booklets, which are produced by different Israeli publishers, and these booklets change the Tanakh. I mean, they use that and say, read page 4 to page 14 about Shmuel or about anything else, and the students don't really meet the Tanakh Maleh till they finish 6th grade. And when they get to 7th grade, in secular schools, it's a very, very difficult stage, because a student moves into a school which is very big. He has much more students in his class, and there's no more home teacher. There is, but he teaches them 2 hours a week. And it's very, very difficult to talk about identity and anything else which is relevant to students when you get to that age. And that's why one of the big reasons why this big gap comes. One more difference is the difference in the goals of why we teach Tanakh. This is from the Israeli Ministry of Education site. In my words, I translated it into English. These are the religious goals in the religious Tanakh studies: to hear the word of God, to be committed to the values, to feel we belong to the people of Israel, and to know and to love learning Torah. Very religious language. And look, see that the word learn is just a small part. Knowledge is a small part of the goals of the Israeli religious Tanakh teaching. The secular Tanakh study goals are different. Now I must say one thing about this. This is a new plan which just began 2 months ago, the Israeli Tanakh secular plan. It changed the plan which was in the schools for many years. And of course you can see the language is not a religious language because it's for secular schools. It does talk about relevance and does talk about values, but it talks in a very different language than the religious language. Few words about what they learn in school and which Sefarim they learn. So basically, religious student in Israel learns all the Torah from beginning to end. Some of it twice, some of it 3 times, and the Nevi'im Rishonim kimat hakol, Nevi'im Achronim a little less. This is the Dati, the religious schools. This is the small matriculation, the small part. Most of the schools, some of them do a bigger amount, a bigger portion, which I didn't put here. The secular students learn much less. Again, only 2 hours a week, only unqualified teachers in the elementary school. So we learn from Kita Bet to Kita Tet, from Bereshit to Melachim Bet, try and go through all over Torah and Nevi'im Rishonim. Not all the book, only portions of it and parts of it which are important and relevant to students to know about Tanakh. And one of the big changes is that the matriculation used to be, until this year, Melachim was the main part of the matriculation, 50% of it, Sibur Churban and Geula, and now it changed it to be Bereshit, so they can know more about Sipurei Avot and Yosef, which wasn't really part of the matriculation till now as a basic part. Now I would like to show a little part of how the ministry offers or asks the teachers to teach these lessons in the classes. So there's 2 main Israeli internet sites. The first one is called Lilmod Ulelamed, that's a site for the religious schools. And there's a new site called Atar Tanakh Mamlachti for the secular schools. Now, Shmuel Aleph Perek Het is taught in Kita Daled and Tet in the religious schools, and in Kita Zayin in the secular schools. So this is the first lesson plan for Kita Daled.
It's so long and complicated.
Yeah, you have to be a teacher and register, right?
No, it's open. It's open altogether.
The thing about this is that Misrad HaChinuch materials are open and available to everyone.
Everything's open, everyone,
And,
yes.
And somehow Americans don't take a look at them.
It's only Hebrew. It's not English, it's only Hebrew.
Who said that?
Okay. The religious one is called Lilmod Ulelamed. Lilmod Ulelamed. That's the name. Look in Google, it's very easy to find it. This is a very, very basic plan. It's for Kita Daled. It's only for the teacher, of course. The first part is about the change between the Melech and the Shofet, and how the Melech really continues the Shiput. The second part is the question we asked. The second part is about the differences between Shofet and Melech. And the third part is the question we asked, why did Shmuel say he objects to it? And the answer is because they said we want to be like the Goyim, and Shmuel said no, don't be like the Goyim. That's the basic plan for this Perek in Kita Daled. In Kita Tet, it's a much longer plan. And first of all, I have to say about it, it's a plan which is full of parshanim. It has in it Malbim, Rashi, Radak, Matzuda David, Gemara, Tosefta, Minchat Bikurim, Maharsha, and Rambam in this lesson. Now it says here it's only Bikiyut, it's only just, you don't have to go into all the depth, but you should know these ideas to teach the class. It's not a short plan, as you see. I won't go through all of it.
One day, one lesson?
Doesn't say here how much you have to teach it. It's no more than 2 or 3 lessons. In Lilmod Ulelamed, you see, there's Chomrei Hora'ah over here. And that's all the plans and all the lessons, how to teach them. But you should go through all the site. There's lots of very interesting things here. The person who did it, began it, was Miri Schlissel, the former Tanakh.
Before Yehud, prior to Yehuda Trapper.
Prior to Yehuda Trapper was Miri Schlissel, and he continued everything she did and did it in much more depth and continues it in a very, very nice way. I won't go all through this plan now. How long do I have?
About 15 minutes.
Okay. I won't go through all the plan. Just say that the main questions we asked before about why did the people want a king, why did Shmuel say no, why didn't he succeed in what he said, and the connection between this chapter and Dvarim Yud Zayin, and the connection between Shmuel's sons and Eli's sons are all in here. All those things are in here. All by different parshanim, which I said before. They're all giving different ideas and different parshaniyot answers to those questions. Except for the knowledge, there are many values in this plan. Both this sentence here.
Are they all classical mafashim? Are there any contemporary?
Means anyone modern?
No.
Modern?
No, not in here.
No
No.
modern?
No. No.
Are there ever modern commentaries?
In the religious schools? Don't think so. Yes? מה? Modern Rabbanim, yes. אבל לא מחקר. Not religious modern, yes. Yes, of course. Yes.
Do questions of the mechkar ever come up? So, for example, here in Parak the difference between Prakim and Shmuel, which are anti-Melucha, as opposed to the Prakim, which are pro-Melucha. Does that question even arise in the...
Not in that way. Not in that way. And I'll show you soon that even in the secular schools, questions like that are very, very, very small. I mean, a question which should be asked, was Dvarim Yud Zayin written before Shmuel Aleph Perek Chet or not? And the relevance between them, even in secular schools, it's not asked in that way. Kimat velo. There's a very interesting sentence here. This sentence here is saying, there's a big talk here about, is it a mitzvah, like in Dvarim Yud Zayin, to lemanot melech, or is it reshut? And there's a big machloket in different parshanim and rishonim, if it's a machloket or not, Rambam, v'chulei. So this sentence says, even if it's a mitzvah, there's a question of how you ask, why you ask, and how you ask, and the way you ask. That's part of the thing. So זאת אומרת, it's a real erech in this value in this lesson of not only are you right or wrong, but also the question is how you do things and how you answer it. And the end is very interesting because the end says the reason Shmuel said yes in the end, and the reason Hashem said yes in the end, is what the Malbim says, אם כן אינם ראויים מעתה להשגחה ניסית. Or in a different way to say it, בדרך שאדם רוצה ללך, בה מוליכים אותו. זאת אומרת, in the end, what would it help if Hashem would say no, or if Shmuel would say no? I won't agree. I mean, if Shmuel wants to stay relevant and wants to say a person who, in 3 or 4 chapters' time, to give his long neum preda and to have the people still talk to him and relate to him as a relevant person, so he didn't say no in a very absolute way. He tried to persuade them. He saw they didn't agree, and he continued with them because of the way they went. Now, what I want to show you, no, it's the wrong thing, is a new site which we just opened or uploaded a few weeks ago. A site which we began together with 929 and us together together. This site is for secular Tanakh teachers in Israel. It's open. You can all students can go into it, parents can go into it, but it's mainly done for secular Tanakh teachers. And except for all the hodaot and everything up here, at the bottom you can see the entrance for Tanakh teachers. If you want, you can open Vaikra Yutet from here, but basically you should go to where you teach it and open it from there. So if we're talking about Kita Zayin, we're going to Kita Zayin. And all the lessons the secular teacher is supposed to teach all the year round are over here. The grey ones are lessons which we haven't been uploaded yet, will be uploaded in the next few months. And the other ones have been already uploaded. So we're going to Shmuel Aleph Perek Chet. And there's lots of different ways and ideas to teach the lesson in this site. The first way, now this is, I want to open it in Chrome because in Explorer it doesn't look well. The first part is just the chapter itself to show the students. Can we read it out in Hebrew? There's a taktsir, the perek in Hebrew words, and in modern words, yes, for the teacher to read and to understand. And there's different harchavot about the perek. People in the perek, who they are and who they were, places, if there are places in the perek, so connection to Google Earth and shows you exactly where it is and what it is. Words which come in the chapter again and again, called milim manchot. You click on the word and it comes up in the chapter and explains how many times it comes up in the chapter and why, what's importance in that word. And if there's different Hebrew sayings which were taken from this chapter, so you click on them and you see where it says it and what it means in Hebrew, in modern Hebrew.
This is for teachers or for students?
Teachers. But if you want, as a student, you can look at it, of course. Students will use it too, I'm sure.
Anyone can log on.
Yeah, it's open.
This is 929 for teachers?
This is
For secular teachers.
This is Ministry of Education for Secular Teachers, which was built together with 929. Because lots of things here were taken from the 929 site and made into be for teachers. 929 is also part of the Ministry of Education. It's part of our work, which is both for the Israeli people and for the teachers together.
So it's the EDU at the beginning.
What?
It's the EDU at the beginning of the
Yeah, EDU 929, yes. It's not on Google yet, so it's EDU 929 or VIL.
So, but in neither case is there like direct questions about how do we relate to these ideas today?
I'll get there in a second. On the left, there's a whole set of, like a buffet of different ideas how to teach the perek. You can choose drawings, modern drawings or old drawings, which talk about kings and different ideas in the chapter and questions about them to show the students. You can show different films or movies about, this is about the French Revolution and the connection of it to becoming, is the king good or bad, and all the rest of it. Different things which are about the reality of the Tanakh in the chapter, showing different maps and ideas which come up from this chapter and questions to show the students. This is all for 7th grade. I mean, in 12th grade it'll be different, and in 2nd grade it'll be different. Every grade it's built towards those students. Again, places in this chapter, and this is showing the difference between Shmuel, who was in this area, and his sons, which were in this area, and what it means why his sons left him and didn't go around the people of Israel, but they went very, very south to Beersheba. And other different ideas in this chapter on the left side. Now this is a big change because every teacher can, even if he's not professional, can use all these kelim to teach the chapter. But the main thing is the part of the site which is down here. We have 3 different ideas, ways to how to teach this chapter in the class. Now, every single chapter in the Tanakh, or every different part of the Tanakh which has been to be taught in secular schools, has a different idea of how to be taught. It always begins in some kind of hakdama. It goes into beginning of a lesson. This is one way, is to think about the word king. What does the word king mean to you as a student? When do we use the word king in our life? What does king of hearts or whatever mean to us? And have a small talk with the class about kings and ways of leadership. A different way to open the lesson is a game, playing around with talks between students, between the kids and parents, and how sometimes parents disagree with kids and the other way around, and parents try to persuade their kids in different ideas, and kids don't always agree with them at the end. And this is, of course, to relate to Shmuel and Am Yisrael. 10 minutes, okay. And the way we feel about that. After doing that beginning of the lesson, we begin reading the perek, and this lesson is about Psukim Aleph Tehei, the beginning of the perek, and we read it about the first few verses, and were the ideas of the Zkenim who ask for a melech, are they right? Is it okay what they ask for? What do you think, before you read the continuation, what do you think Shmuel and Hashem will say towards those things? And then we continue reading, and is that what you thought? Did Shmuel and Hashem say what you thought they would say? Why do you think Shmuel is against it? Why do you think Hashem is against it? And why in the end does Hashem say, yes, listen to them? That's all the questions we asked here in the class. And the main issue in this lesson plan is, why did Shmuel say no? Why was it bad beinav? Lama vayera davar beinei Shmuel? And then they go and they get a small page of Parshanut, 3 different Parshanim, which give answer to that question. There are both old and modern Parshanim in this page. Both Malbim and Hartum, which is more modern, and Garciel, which is even more modern, having different ideas, which are basic ideas. Nothing is very new in these ideas, but this is the way they use these Parshanuyot. And then there's a talk between the students, between themselves, which one of the Parshanuyot they think is the best one, and they have to persuade one each other in the Parshanuyot. And the end is some kind of writing or playing of these ideas in front of each other, and trying to get the idea by the students acting it out in front. And at the end is a sikum shel haperek v'chulei. This is one lesson plan, and this goes on in other lesson plans. There's another 2 lesson plans about the same chapter. Every lesson plan chooses a different way to learn it, and different idea to talk about. This is about kings and shoftim, and different ways to be of leadership. A bit question about Shmuel himself. One thing we have here is about the talk about Shmuel as a person. Is the reason that Shmuel said no because he personally felt bad about them saying, we don't want you, and he ne'elav, the word in English, he was insulted, which was, we didn't see that in the religious schools because it's a very low way to look about Shmuel, trying to make him human in the secular class, which is another way of looking at it, to try and find the reason why he didn't agree to what he said. After these 3 different lesson plans, there's also an entrance here to a pedagogy and didacti ma'amar paper. If a teacher wants to continue learning, so he has a whole long paper here, which helps him think about the perek. In these ideas, there's lots of modern secular ideas also, like Meir Shalev, which is an Israeli writer, like The Lion King, like a song by Ande Amir. Different ideas of how to teach the perek, both in religious parshanim and in other parshanim too. Now, this site is only on the chapters which are taught in secular schools in the meantime. It's written in a secular way, not in a religious and imuni way, but has lots and lots of ideas, which are basically ideas which were made up here in Herzog, in Lev Ladat, and other ideas which were built up in the last years. And this lets teachers which are not qualified in teaching Tanakh and didn't study Tanakh, they can use this an evening before the lesson for 10 minutes and they have a lesson ready, or they can, of course, go in for much more and do it in a more thorough way. It's not been done in any other subject in Israel yet. Writing up all the curriculum and all the lesson plans of all the year through, of all the classes from 1st to 12th grade. It's a huge, huge project. Some people say it's a very bad idea because it lets the teachers, it makes them just copy what the ideas. Other people say it's a very good idea because we help non-professional people do it.
Gives them some information that they
right.
really don't know.
Right. So our big hope is that this site will help teachers teach in a more relevant way and a more interesting way for students and change some of the ideas in schools. And of course, anyone can use it, and of course, you can enter it and use the ideas from it, and it's open for everyone. And I think in the end, I want to say that we should learn from Shmuel, because the way he did is the way he talked to Am Yisrael and the way he told them his lesson. He didn't say no in a hechleti way, in a very absolute way. He understood that that won't help anything if he talks in one language and students talk in the other language. He has to, in one side, give them the ideas and show them the right way, but in the other side, talk in their language and let them get what they want to get, because in the other way, he would be no relevant to them at all.